thank you, CliniLaunch Research Institute, to giving this opportunity. I know I had to change date as you read out my CV because tomorrow I have to travel out of India for my personal trip. So traveling is my hobby, and I keep on traveling, and that's why I'm in this job. So thank you very much, CliniLaunch, and I think we should make a good 1 hour. I think that students should remember, take home few messages. And as I said, I am very less of slides and more of talk. So hardly you will find my slides around 10-15 slides. But I want to keep this session more for a Q&A. So as I know, um, and if you ask my career path, so after MBBS, I was very confused what to do. And my dad was a pediatrician, and you can imagine going from a clinical branch to a non-clinical branch. We had a lot of questions. So when I took this MD pharmacology, before that 6 months I did a thorough research. So I went to many institutes, many pharmacology department, pharmacy colleges, spoke to many people who were working in pharma, and then I got to know that yes, this pharma world is a very different world, and I think that's the right time I should enter it. And I hope till now it is going well. It's been 11 years in the industry. Started with my career with Ranbaxy, which got sold to Sun Pharma, and then I was in Abbott India for 8-9 years. And after that, then I've joined Shalina Healthcare last year. So Shalina Healthcare is actually a multinational company based out of Dubai. They have their regional offices in India, and basically their 99% sales come from the Africa region. So they are the top 5 company in the Africa, and their sales usually come from Africa region. And it's a 40-year-old healthcare company. Currently, they are into pharma, consumer, and diagnostics. So I had the medical affairs for all the three affiliates for all the Shalina Healthcare, and I have a team of around 7 people, few sitting with me, one of them sitting in Dubai, and 2 or 3 sitting in the African regions. So that's how we work. What is the current scenario? What is the current collaboration between the industry and academics in clinical research? And I think this goes back 100 years back, and currently also it holds a very prominent role, because what I understand is, and if you consider my role, I came from academia. I did my MBBS MD pharmacology, which was an academia, or which was an institute, and then came into the industry. So I have seen both the sides, and I know that how both the sides work, what are the both requirements, what are the problems both academy and industry has, and where this two can collaborate, come together, and where still the work is required to be done. So this is how I will be going to talk about the topic. What is the drug invention? Why there is a need of collaboration between the industry as well as the academics. First I will talk what are the pitfalls, because first, what is the problem which is currently industry as well as the academics are facing, and then where are the opportunities. So going ahead, can we see these opportunities and use them in uh, benefit for industry as well as for the beneficial for the academics. I hope everybody knows the history of our drugs. So if you see the history of corticosteroids, so corticosteroids was actually developed in an institute or in a medical college. So here you see Philip Hench, Traduce Richstein, Edward Kendall, all from Mayo Clinic and Basel University. They came up with this corticosteroid, or they came up with this molecule, which they then spoke to Mr. Lewis Sarret, who further developed at the Merck. So Merck was the pharma company in that time, and that is how the corticosteroids was or came in the existence. Same is the story with streptomycin. So streptomycin was developed or identified by Selman Waxman at Rutgers University, and he persuaded Mr. George Merck to establish a production plant and start producing streptomycin. So this is how to start. Why I started this? This is how the academics and industry have come together for the development of drug, which is for the betterment of the patient, or the something giving to the I would say people in the world, or something giving to the life. So that's how this industry as well as the academics came together, and we have prominent examples. Today also, you say after 100 years, corticosteroids are still one of the major important drug in when it comes to clinical practice. Although streptomycin has been often on the table, it's not used nowadays because of the resistance, but still streptomycin was a basic where all other antibiotics have been developed, keeping the streptomycin in the mind. I'm sure you all know this is the basic slide when you come into a pharma industry, that how much time it takes from the pre-discovery to the drug coming to the market. So here, if you see, and how much amount of money is required. So currently, if you ask me, 10 billion to 15 billion US dollars are required for a drug to come in existence and get the patients or the people start using that drug after it reaches to the market. So drug discovery till preclinical takes almost 3 to 6 years. Clinical trials, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 takes 6 to 7 years. Once your phase 3 is done and you have a positive result, then you have to go for a FDA review or any regulatory review, where it takes almost a year, so that your regulators check your drug as well as your reports as well as your results. And after that, then you are given a permission to start manufacturing and market the drug. And after that, once the drug is in market, nowadays, I know you all know that you have to do a post marketing surveillance phase 4 study. You have to maintain PSURs and give the reports to the regulators when as and when required by the regulators. So interesting here is a drug takes 3 times more, or a company takes 3 times more um, um, time compared to what an iPhone or an Apple takes to develop its phone. So can you imagine company like a Merck is investing 7 to 8 times more in R&D as compared to a Apple or compared to a Lenovo kind of a company. So that's how difficult it is, and that's how much money is required for to develop a drug, and that drug needs the company will make money only if that drug becomes a profitable or a blockbuster kind of a drug, where then that amount of money which the company has invested, company could recover it after it goes into the market. Plus here a lot of things. One is most important thing you have to remember is a patent. So patent usually starts when you go from preclinical, or usually it goes from when you have a drug discovery and you go to preclinical. That's the time when companies apply for the patent, and in the US patent is given usually for 20 years. So there are few drugs, few molecules which hardly had 3 4 years of life, or 3 4 years of patent available when they came into the market. So after the, and I know you all know that after once the patent is lost, any other company can bring a generic for it, and the usually the innovator has to reduce its rates or sell as per the generic rates available. So it's a very difficult market. If you see this slide particularly, yes, deaths which have been reduced. So here you can see the deaths due to the high cholesterol or heart cases just fall when there was a first statin approved, or the atorvastatin was approved in 1987. Plus here you see the cases of HIV increasing, but then first HIV protease inhibitor was approved suddenly there was a drop in the deaths of the HIV patients. So yes, therapeutic drugs are useful, but then they require a cost. The industry has to put in a lot of money. And if you see on this particular slide, so in 1980s, suppose a company is investing in a R&D. That time, a R&D investment of let's say $1 would give you a $3 in sales. But now you see, coming to 2008, the company which is investing a $1 for the making of a drug, but in the sales they are only getting 0.83. So so speaking, they are making loss compared to what was there in 1980. So pharmaceutical industry is also going in a kind of a turmoil. A lot of investments happened. A few drugs could not make it, and every drug will make it to market is not possible because a lot of money has to be invested. The trials has to come positive. If you ask me, I don't know any one of you are following the NASH market. The NASH market is your non-alcoholic steatotic hepatitis, that is fatty liver, which is caused because of the obesity, the diabetes, hypertension, and now it's in next 10-15 years it's gonna be a big market. It's gonna be a huge problem because people suffering from NASH, if they are not treated, they may land into a liver cancer. So a lot of industry, pharma industry started investing, and one of the drug, semaglutide, which was from Novo Nordisk, they are again trying for that molecule also to be um, um, approved in the NASH. But a lot of industries tried, and I think almost 10-15 pharma companies have closed down because of the research in the NASH, that they could not bring the molecule in the market because their molecule failed in phase 3. They could not show any improvement, and FDA did not give any approval. And finally, since they had invested so much, they had to close their books. They have to close their company. Recently, only the first drug which has got approved in NASH is the resmetirom. If you people get time, you can go and read the history of the resmetirom, how it was approved, and that's the first drug which has got approval by US FDA in the treatment of NASH. So in short, I was saying ki lot of money goes into this, and lot of money has to be invested compared to any other industry for making or to bring that drug in the market for the use in the patients. Now, why there is a need for research collaboration? So, if you ask me, pharma industry works totally different, and an academic institute work totally different. And what are their common goals? So, the common goal is improving the health of patients. So the institutes, medical colleges, or pharmacy colleges, their common goal is improving the health of patients, which is a common goal for pharma industry also. And second role of both the parties is industry relies on academic for basic research that identifies what are the novel molecular targets, or also they depend on them that can they carry out the clinical trials at the institute. So it's a win-win situation for both the parties, industry as well as academics. So to give you example, if you see a company like Alkem, which is present in India, you can read about them in the common public domain, that they have collaborated with John Hopkins. I hope you all know John Hopkins is a big institute from US, and they are collaborating on identifying a molecular target for colorectal cancer. As well as Alkem has also collaborated with Harvard University, and that's for the vascular diseases like ulcers, leg ulcers, or the diabetic neuropathy. So now our Indian industries or Indian pharma companies are also collaborating with this research institute, because that's where the basic research is going to happen. Pharma industry, it's no more putting that much of money in R&D, because as I showed you, it requires a lot of money. already people are making, or already pharma industries are losing money on that. Hence, they're looking out to collaborate with these institutes, where the institute try their own research, try their molecular targets, and then pharma can join them, and both parties can come together and carry out the clinical trials and the approval of the drug. Now, coming to the pitfalls. So, what are the current problem with this collaboration? So here you see the first pitfall, and the biggest pitfall which is seen everywhere, is a pharma and a medical institute, or a pharma and a doctor coming together. I hope you must have read recently, we have UCPMP guidelines, or code of conduct released by Indian government, which says that pharma cannot do any engagement with the doctors, because the lanes or the interface through which it is seen is very different. So hence it becomes very difficult to collaborate with a doctor, or with a institute, or with a medical college, because the angle through which it is seen is very different. Second is policy. What happens is, now take an example of India. In India, we have more than 3,000 institutes, more than 1,000 medical colleges and all. Every academy has its own policy. So the AIMS New Delhi will have a different policy compared to JIPMER Pondicherry, or compared to KEM Mumbai. So this all institutes will have their own policy. So it becomes very difficult for a pharma industry to collaborate if there are different policies. Third is investments. Now, who's going to bring the investment? Is it that institute has to invest, or is it pharma going to collaborate with the institute and pharma is going to invest? So it's currently depends on who is taking the decision, and very restricted kind of investments are made by both industry as well as the public authorities. So I am not saying the involvement of government, because government themselves have their own departments, and they themselves give the grants, but then that grants are not enough for a institute to come up with or complete the research, because here the institute will have to reach out to pharma industry to carry out the preclinical, the clinical trials, and take that drug to the patient, because research institute will not be able to do that. Coming to fourth pitfall, which I think is a design, and specifically designing of the clinical trial. So the fourth pitfall, which I was saying, is a design, and a design here is the study design and the selection of the population, or the selection of the patients in the clinical trial. So here I would say the academy or the institutes are very much matured, and they know, the doctor knows what patient I have to select if I have to put him in the trial. But what happens is, pharma industry, as I said, they are already under pressure. A lot of money has been invested. They want their trials to be fast tracked. Hence, both the teams of pharma industry and institute, they don't go well when it comes to a study designing and selection of a population. And the next is bureaucracy. We all know countries like the developing countries, and not only developing, but in developed countries also, a lot of bureaucracy is there. Inappropriate barriers, practices, inefficiencies. And as you know, you must have seen the various guidelines coming on the doing clinical trials in India. So this keep on changing, and that's why the pharma industry as well as institute have a setback in doing anything, if they are currently trials are ongoing, or if they are planning to do anything. And next is a data. We all know nowadays data privacy and data policies have become so much strong. Every country has their own say on the data, and in this you are creating a data for a drug on a patient. So a lot of data guidelines and data policies are going to play a role. And one more thing is a reproducibility of some data. So what happens is, suppose the institute, one of the institute has done the study and they have come up with the data, but that same study done in another institute, they are not able to replicate it. So there is a irreproducible of the data as a major pitfall. So these are the pitfalls: engagement, policy, investment, designing of trials, bureaucracy, and data of patient data, data collection, as well as the irreproducible of data at the two different institutes. Coming to opportunities, now based on the pitfalls, do we have any opportunities? Can we play a role? Can we, going ahead in next 10-15 years, can things be changed so that it becomes very smooth for a industry collaborating with a academy or a institute? So here what we can do, and these are the areas where potential improvements can be done, which will help the industry as well as institute. So first is improve study and ethics committee submission preparation. So when it comes to study, so when you submit the documents, the protocol, the CRF, various documents to the institute or to the ethics committee, I think that submission should be a proper, thorough preparation. And as you all know, nowadays in India, if you want to do a clinical trial, you have to knock the DCGI or the CDSCO also, because you are doing an intervention in the patient. You need to take their approval also. So if your all this paperwork is in place, and I know a lot of this paperwork has been moved digitally. The CDSCO has its own online submission, as well as nowadays their meetings happen online. Uh, also we have e-CRFs, e-protocol. So everything has moved to digitalization, but a thorough preparation is required. Second is improving the data monitoring quality, as well as learning from the industry. So specifically for India, like the mature markets or the developed markets like US and UK, we need to improve the monitoring quality. So it should be look like the clinical research associate, whoever is monitoring or whoever is present in that institute, he should feel that this has been done for the patient benefit. He should not see like okay, the CRO is paying for me and that's why I am here. He should look like it's gonna benefit for the patient. Going ahead, if CRA approves the documents, then only that document data is gonna go for the results, and we are gonna present that results saying that. So integrity is also, I think, a very important thing which is required in this. Yes, knowledge of regulatory authorities, policies, expectations. This is very important that, as I said, nowadays you have to knock the DCGI and CDSCO doors and take their permissions for doing any clinical trial in India, and multi-center rather than single case study. So academies should reach out. This is very common. Like now we have almost 20-25 AIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences in India. Why cannot all these AIMS come together and do a multi-centric trial? Okay, so but I don't think so currently they are doing, but can they do it? Because it's a one institute under one umbrella. Can they come and do a multi-center rather than doing single center studies? Coming to industry, where potential improvements can happen. So study design collaboration with actively involving academics. So usually what happens in industry or in pharma is the study design protocol CRFs is usually done by the people who are part of the industry, and then they take that thing to the institute or to the doctors and they say, this is the your protocol, this is your CRF, and we want to do a clinical trial. So ideally this should not happen. This requires a potential improvement, because if you want to conduct a trial, you should, from day one, you should involve the head of the academics or the person who's going to do this trial, because then only you will have a proper collaboration between the doctor who's going to recruit the patients, as well as the pharma industry who wants to do this study. Site selection, again, I can see a lot of pharma industries favorite the site selection, which should not happen. As also, the site selection should not be based where CROs are present or where CROs person can travel. So site selection actually should be a proper, thorough research or thorough, I would say, feasibility done before selecting the site. So to give you example, in my previous organizations, we were doing study on, I think, one of the liver conditions, and we had taken all big sites, all big liver institutes which were present in India. But what happened, we were not getting any naive patients which we were requiring to test our drug. But somewhere in Gujarat, in some small place, we could find that one of the site was having a good number of patients, and he was constantly giving the liver knife patients. And then we visited also, and then we came to know that the site selection should not be based on somebody telling us that, yeah, this site is good, they have all ethics committee, they have the experience of conducting the clinical trials and all. So site selection requires a proper, thorough feasibility. You should visit the institute, see the flow of the patient, talk to the doctor or talk to the research assistant who is there, and then come to the conclusion of the site selection. Coming to industry, so redefine more realistic agenda, and quality recruitment should happen. It should not happen that, yes, I want to complete this trial, so whatever patients we are getting, just dump into the trial. So to get a quality data, you require a quality recruitment versus what only just do a volume based kind of a clinical trial. And one more interesting thing is the data should be shared between the industry as well as the academics. So it should not happen that once the industry or the pharma industry has completed the study and the data is lying with them. Ideally, it should be lying with the academician who has done this study, or the doctor who has done this study, and with the industry, because you never know, if you do some kind of a sub analysis or you further deep dive into the data, you may get some interesting points out of that. So this is what a successful academic industry partnership look like. So project conception, then roll out your task, scope, contract, disclosures, funding, shared data, IP issues, compliance, and then finally the product commercialization. So don't worry, I will share the slides with Shweta, and Shweta can share internally with you all for your reading purpose. So I'm just skipping this particular slide, because here I have shown you that how the academy, where the basic research is done, like pharmacy colleges or biotechnology colleges, the healthcare professionals, this is your medical institutes, medical colleges, or the doctors, and the industry. So how three can come together, mutual desire can happen, and provide better drugs or better beneficial access to the drugs that the patient can get. So take home is successful and sustainable academic and industry partnership must be designed that will benefit all the parties and create a win-win engagement. You should have a leader or a champion from each side. So if pharma industry or an institute is coming together, two important leaders should look at this project from both the institutes, and there should be a balanced involvement of all the stakeholders. And obviously, there should be addressing whatever the intellectual property issues, licensing, revenue opportunities, data sharing. This all should be upfrontly planned before executing the clinical trial.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi Nikita.
Hello, sir. Nice presentation, and also this is very knowledgeable for us. Sir, I want to know about the fatty liver problem. This is very serious problem nowadays. This is increasing day by day, people around us. So, what should we do about this to cure this problem?
So as I said, fatty liver, lot of pharma companies are working on it to bring a molecule, and first molecule is already in market in US, which is known as resmetirom. And fatty liver is nothing but because of your sedentary lifestyle. So if you are obese, you are suffering from diabetes, you have central obesity, hypertension, this all will lead to fat deposition in your liver. And if fat gets deposited in your liver will not function well, and slowly then liver goes into fibrosis, and that's how then it either the liver doesn't it goes into liver failure, or it can turn into a cancerous mass. The problem is there because of the change in the lifestyle, and you will see in going ahead in next 10-15 years, we may have multiple drugs which will come into usage.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Ambika.
Sir, it's a very good presentation and an eye-opening presentation actually. And
Thank
like
you.
you are actually discussing about some problems that we are actually facing. Like it's a gap between academics and industry. And like basically, I'm a PhD in microbiology and I have done anti-cancer drugs. Like I have synthesized two anti-cancer drugs, and it's based on that the cancer activity that I have tested. It's on breast cancer cell line and cervical cancer cell line. So, sir, how like how I'm going to mitigate this gap to go further, like academics and industry? How can I go further after this?
So, Dr. Ambika, first of all, have you filed for patent if you have find out a molecule
Uh,
or a molecular
no, sir.
target?
I didn't have patents, but I have six publications on it because that time I like my primary goal was to get a degree for PhD degree. So that's why obviously patent used to take a lot of time. So that time I didn't register for patent.
So the research which you have done, it's sitting with whom? Means, is it with your institute, or
Yes, sir.
has the institute given to?
Yes, sir. It's on institute.
Here, what you can do is, Ambika, or your institute, is you have to reach out to the oncology pharma companies. So the companies which are basically into oncology. So to give you an example, now all the multinationals are into oncology. Novartis, Pfizer, J&J, Takeda, AstraZeneca, all these companies are into oncology. You need to reach out to them. They may help you. They may give you the proper contact. Person name, and then you need to discuss with that person that this is how we did our research, this is how we whatever research you have done, and we look forward for the collaboration between our academy as well as the industry. And I think if the company finds out that yes, this looks like interesting, they will surely reach out to you, and then the institute and the pharma company can take it ahead.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the
Yeah.
suggestion.
So good evening, sir. Soumya here. Hello, sir. Good evening.
Yeah. Good evening, Soumya.
Sir, as you said, we should set the trial center according to the flow, not according to the availability of CROs and places like that. If we go for rural places, it is difficult to make the patients understand and to make them participate in the trial. So that also becomes a difficulty, and also the to recruit the people for trial.
I'm not talking about tier 4 or tier 5 kind of cities or the places. Let's take Hubli. Like Hubli also, you will find out that there are a good number of colleges and good flow of patients. So what I was saying is, not always you should carry out studies in cities like Bangalore, Mumbai, Kolkata, Chennai. Okay, because here you are going to find a tough job, because the either the academicians don't have time, or the doctors don't have time, or patient are learned patient where he doesn't want to be part of your trial because he will he will ask you a lot of questions. So why don't we go into tier 2 or tier 3? So if I talk about Maharashtra, why don't we go to Nasik, Aurangabad, Nanded kind of a cities, where you will get a good amount, because nowadays every district has a medical college in India at least. So you will get the academician, the doctor also, as well as you will get the patients also. No, not
recruitment of
proper ruler, because it will take time. I'm not saying you go directly to very small where you don't have facilities also. So there you will find challenge. But I'm
that's what
saying go to tier 2, tier 3 kind of cities where the academician or the doctors are also hungry to do trials, as well as the patients are also interested to come and be part of the trial. Vaisak Chandran has asked, sir, how has technologies helped in advancing clinical research? So can you share your experience? Okay. So first and most in technology, I would say there are two things. One is technology has advanced to, I would say, keep the data of patient confidential, because that is very much required nowadays in research, as well as the government regulatories keep a watch on that how you are sharing the data, how data has been kept confidential. So there a lot of technological development has happened. And second would be the ease of doing a clinical trial. So earlier it was very much of paperwork. You need to keep the files. You need to keep that files for 10 years if you are as an institute, if you are doing in a clinical trial. So it used to take a lot of space, as well as a lot of wastage of paper and everything. Now this has been moved to ECRF, e-protocols. Everything happens on a laptop and computer, so you don't require also to keep any paperwork. And third is technological use is, I think, the real world evidence is based on the EMR. So electronic medical records nowadays, all private institute, at least in India, have EMRs. And from these EMRs, you can collect the data of the patients and present it as a real world evidence. So a lot of technological advancement has happened compared to what 15, 20 years back it was. And I think in coming years, since we have people like you, like young crowd, Gen Z crowd, or Gen Alpha crowd, which are thinking everything in technological mind. So we may have AI also coming into the clinical research, where you just scan the everything and you will get to know the results of your drug. So I think a lot of things will come in next few years.
Sir, one more question, Soumya here.
Yeah.
Do we have like any government opportunities in the field of clinical research? Like, are there any ways to enter into government side? Like, we have regulatory bodies and everything. So, do we have something to enter?
I don't think so. Currently, government colleges are recruiting any clinical research assistant. I know private institutes or private medical colleges are doing, and they almost all corporate hospitals also have clinical research department. But in private hospitals, in government hospital, the clinical research comes under the preventive and social medicine. Hence, they don't have a separate department out there. And the postgraduate students who are the part of the preventive and social medicine department, they only carry out all this work. So I don't think so. There is any other. There is a scope, or the government hospitals will start recruiting clinical research people.
Sir, my question is about like regulatory body is mostly of like there are also from government side. So I'm asking to enter into that field.
There you can enter, but then you require experience in regulatory, and I think you will have to. I have seen that their advertisement comes in paper for FDA inspectors and all this thing, but then I don't. I have never dealt into it, that how to get through the regulatory job in government.
What are some successful examples of collaboration between the pharmaceutical industry and academia?
I know I just gave you the example of Alkem, what they are doing. But if you ask me a successful example coming from India, I would say it's I don't know if you people have heard Sarogglitazar. So saroglitazar is a drug which Zydus developed, but actually it came from Pharmacy College of Ahmedabad. So the Pharmacy College and Zydus came together, and purposefully they kept the name in Gujarati. Saro means very good. So saroglitazar is a drug used for dyslipidemia, and nowadays it's used for the fatty liver and NASH also. So uh, here is an example of Indian example of where the industry collaborated with the pharmacy college and they have come up with a drug. Other question is, how is the possibility to get a job in clinical data management and clinical SAS and analysis field? So to go as a fresher, first is you need to get some kind of understanding or some kind of a, like I'm sure CliniLaunch Research Institute will be providing such trainings or the certificate programs. And once you do this, you can surely connect with the CROs who are doing the clinical trials, and then you can join them as a fresher. They can help you in this fresher roles. If you have completed your degree, I would tell you reach out either to a pharma industry or either to CROs. And if you are staying in Bangalore, I think Bangalore has a lot of CROs as well as pharma industry. So you can reach out to them. And as I said, this pharma industry requires a lot of connect and contact. Networking is very important here. Make your networking strong. Reach out to people, and to start with, because see, now it's very crowded market, so you cannot you are not at the uh, I would say demand. You cannot be a demanding person. No, I will not work for such a small company, or I will not work for this. The days have gone. So whatever you are getting, start your career. And the very important thing to remember in pharma industry is experience matters. So wherever you start with a small company. If you take a 6 months to 1 year experience, you are on a good path to take a new job or a new role at a bigger company. So just by not joining any company which is giving you offer just because it's not a big company, I think you are wasting your time. You will waste on a number of days or the months which you will lose because of not accepting that. And I would say whatever you are getting, accept it, make learn there, make your contribution there, do good for your curriculum vitae, and then think of moving into some bigger CRO or a bigger company. Prajakta has a question: do pharma companies directly recruit students? Yes, Prajakta, a lot of pharma companies do. They have a lot of different roles available. So you need to look out. You need to be active on LinkedIn. You need to be active on the pharma companies' career portals, so that you can come across which other companies are recruiting and where you can apply to them. And I would like to thank CliniLaunch Research Institute. I would request the students that this is the best time you can utilize, because once you are in the job or once you are in the industry, then you will realize that that was a time where I could have learned a lot and collaborated a lot. So I would request, if you are currently a student, make most of it. Learn as much as you can. Rest things can come afterward, but this is a period where you can learn. Reach out to people, reach out to industry, increase your network, make your network strong, and that's how it's going to help you in your career. So with this, thank you very much. Thank you, Shweta. Thank you, CliniLaunch Research Institute, and looking forward for more such collaborations.